It's May 21st, Tuesday. We'll do what we always do, and that's zoom out to the monthly and help us maintain some of this perspective here. Now, on the monthly, we can see we have broken the previous month's high. We're closed yesterday 53.31.75, so we're still above that previous month's high, which was 53.17 quarter. That's going to be the key level that we're paying attention to here on the monthly basis. We could look at the previous month's high as well. That's that 53.22, so 53.22, 53.17. A lot of congruence here in these areas, so I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if we get move up or move down and then get a close near here like this 53.11, 53.17 area. But definitely an area we want to be paying attention to, as if we get back below it and there's only about 9 days left in the month, we could see a little bit of continuation, and it's only Tuesday, so always want to keep your head on a swivel. Switching over to the weekly, you can see we are one time framing higher, last week being that +4, so we want to be paying attention to the last week's close, 53.27 quarter. Below that, there is increased odds of liquidation, and you may see the market pull back if we start to hang out or get closes below that level, so it'll be important to pay attention to. Other than that, on the weekly, we'll keep an eye on the all-time high, but not really many other references that we're drawing from that. Previous week's open is the 52.62 quarter. That'll be a level to pay attention to as well. Should we start to, get some continuation to the downside, we'll look for that level to hold. Now, that's a pretty far ways away, so I'm not really having it on my, list today, but in the future, it's something to pay attention to. Switching over to the daily, you can see that we are in a 4-day balance here. The market's moved higher, starting to balance for 4 days. If you really look at this, you've kind of got this excess and then this P shape, which is an indication of most likely this gap is short covering. So shorts getting squeezed, having to buy their positions back, moving the market higher, right? So not very strong buying. Easy to tell that the buying is not real strong because we've got a poor high and then also a weak high from yesterday, basically 2 ticks or 1 tick off of the all-time high. So you can see yesterday's high 48 quarter, all-time high 53.49, so it's actually 3 ticks. So those are the levels to pay attention to. Even though yesterday was kind of a muted day, or we moved higher and then came back down lower, we still finished with a +4, so buyers still remained in control yesterday. So the settle is going to be an important piece to pay attention to today, which was 53.31.75. Now, there is some opportunity to possibly get long underneath of that number, even though that's normally not what we would do, but there is some opportunity just because we are in a balance. So we definitely want to understand balance rules are still in play as we get lower in this area. Now, below the 53.17, I'm really more leaning short and looking for that kind of retest of the 52.93. 52.94 is actually where I have my mark to 83. That'll be the key area to pay attention to. Switching over to the profiles here. See if it brings these back up. I had the there we go. This is just the same thing, but basically with this, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for these longs. If we can reclaim this upper distribution, looking for those longs to kind of break that all-time high / weak high / poor high, right? It's just not a very strong reference, not an indication that a seller stepped in. It's more of an indication of lack of buying at the all-time high. So they're not really buyers stepping up into the market. So should we get up there again, would be an indication. And then I'll be looking really just for the next quarter, 53.75. Of course, there could be a turnaround at this level. So we'll be watching that 53.50. Should the market not be able to hold above that level, you could get this reversion. And that would take you probably back down towards this 40.38 level. Now, inside here, we have a caution long, and that's from about 31 to 27. There's some opportunity here really to hold this lower distribution's unfair low and get a trade basically back into this 38.40 area. That's really what we'll be looking for that. Underneath of that, you start to get kind of choppy, right? Underneath of the Globex low, you start to play with the previous day's low, and the market probably chops around in there. You're at this upper part of this lower distribution from the 17th, so not real convincing there. You do get an opportunity for another caution long here from this 17. That's that prior month's high, more or less just a mechanical reference, right? And if there are not strong sellers or not strong players in the market, right, that probably could act as a little bit of support. So it might be a decent area to look to see if the price firms up and trade the market higher. Below the previous month's high, we start to get short pressure coming out of here, and there's going to be sellers, momentum sellers, trying to pile in, I imagine. And with that key really being that 53.11, 53.10 level, they need to kind of break below that. And then should they break below it, we start to get close to that previous the T2 low at this point, just to fill some of these singles. Then I'm going to be looking for that 52.94, 52.83 level as kind of the area that we will look for the market to trade down to, where we know there's some liquidity and possibly find some buyers, as we haven't really seen any buyers lately, right? With the poor high, it's just a lack of buying, or an indication of lack of buying. So they may need to trade lower in order to find the buyers, right? Remember, the market moves lower to shut off selling and moves higher to shut off buying. Those are key components of the auction market theory. But other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure you're managing risk and sticking to your trade plan, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.